I'd like to welcome our main speaker. Her name is Denyse Reyes. She's a successful entrepreneur in her own right. At the back there, you would see a table with some products. They were made by Miss Reyes. She hosts 3 programs on the online radio station, Melanated Community Radio Caribbean, and she makes local products, like I said, for sale, pepper sauce, all different kinds of wines, punches, cakes, and so on. Miss Reyes takes great pride in the art of winemaking and offering authentic Trinidadian sauces, seasonings, and dishes. Denyse Reyes got married at a tender age, hoping to escape a dysfunctional family situation. But that was the beginning of a verbally, physically, and psychologically abusive marriage. So I'll welcome Miss Reyes now, who is here to share her story with us. Can you welcome her?
Well, first, I will thank everybody for coming. It's not an easy thing to come up here and talk about what I have been through. First, I would like to thank Ms. Ravello. I enjoyed that piece. Ms. Brewster. That's the sort of thing I love, what you did, the piece that you did. But it was heartfelt. First, I also like to thank, my journey started 3 years ago. 3 years ago it started. I started to make certain changes because I was not happy in my relationship. I got married at the age of 18. It was sort of an arrangement. And only after I get to realize what it was I signed myself into. But I came from a dysfunctional family in that sense. We had a lot of incest. So I was not one of the victims, thankfully. I became very aggressive. So that nobody will come and interfere with me. But I wasn't happy. They say the woman is the backbone of the family. My grandmother died, and that was it. When she died, I didn't see any reason for continuing. And same time, my husband's family, knowing that I had a crush on him, because I had this preconceived notion of who, like a knight in shining armor. That's something we have to be careful of. But I had a crush on this man when I was 11 years. And not unknowing to me, he was having a relationship, living in a relationship with his cousin. So when his aunt saw that, she came and she asked my grandfather, could we get married? Because she always knew I had liked him. I had loved him. So, I took the opportunity because my grandmother had died, and I wanted it out. So, yes, I decided I would get married. And that is, everything went downhill. You see, one thing I want to tell ladies, do not self-disclose. In the sense that sometimes we tell our mates everything. All our secrets. And you know something, they use it against us. They use it against us because I told him everything. So he knew that I couldn't return home. And he started to take gradually everything from me. First, he said no pants. So for 33 years, I never wore pants. Once in that time, I wore pants because I was going to America and he was going to, he always looked for money. But he was going to get a work and it was a time when it was cold. So my brother said, wear pants. So he bought the pants and I wore the pants. And when I came back, that was the end of the pants. But the thing is, he took all my pants that I had because I love wearing pants. So what was unisex, he wore it, and the others, he cut it up. I remember my aunt gave me a pants after he cut it up. So the years passed. I will tell you after the years, when I finally able to wear pants, 3 years ago, I started to wear pants. I came and I said, when everybody at the gym saying, you look good in your pants. But I had a problem with wearing pants. I felt very uncomfortable. So when time for the gym, and I'll have to tell you how I ended up in that gym, was a whole set of lies to reach in the gym. But anyway, when I got married, I remember once we were going to a religious session, and I told him, I said, he came home late. He didn't really want to go. That was just at the beginning of the marriage. And I said, I pretended to walk out. So that, he's just lagging back. And when I walked out, I came back, he slammed my head into the wall so hard because I had walked out. To this day, I have something called tinnitus. It's a constant ringing in my head. I should have left, but where would I go? That is, you see, we need the support. And if family cannot support, then we don't have anything. So I stayed there. I didn't have my mother and I didn't have my father. My mother had me when she was 16. And due to incest, she was sent away in the home. She was being abused. So she went to America, and that was it. To this day, my mother and I don't have a relationship. She doesn't know any of my 5 children. So it just goes to show what abuse does to people. I mean, because of that, too, she left me in that situation. And I grew up wanting, needing, and loving my mother. And my husband said, I will be all that to you. So that's why I held on to him. I loved him dearly. Yeah? I held on to him, and he just kept taking, no pants. Then the family, you can't go and visit the family, relatives, And that was it, and I started to have children. The first child I had, it was horrible. Because I get licks with that pregnancy. I ended up in hospital. We women always making reports and never following through. That's why sometimes police don't take us seriously. But I know something, police have to understand what it is we go through and why it is sometimes we drop charges. Men are I'm not bashing all men, please. I am talking from a woman who was abused. And that is why I'm saying men, but I know we have some good men. And for the men that came, I'm very, very happy that you all came to support, this venture, because you all need to know sometimes. You may not be one of the statistics, but we have some very evil men out there. So when I went to the hospital, when I was pregnant, I started to lose weight, and the nurses saying, what happened? Why are you losing weight? They'll have to put me to the hospital in the ward, but, I wasn't being fed properly, I should say. Food was a problem. So I started to lose all that weight. Anyway, we had all these children coming down. I had actually 6 pregnancies, 5 children alive, 1 died at birth. And unfortunately, the one that I lost was a daughter. And I was kind of going crazy, and the doctor said, well, try and have a next one. So I had one the 1st of January, and it's due to negligence I lost that baby. Yeah? She was breech. And the doctors, and they were, it was New Year's Day, everybody's onto their own thing, and it was not San Fernando, though. I moved out from the area, which was Point, and I came after that baby died. So January, first I lost my baby. March, I was pregnant. December 28th, I made my son. And that is the son that my husband finally got to abuse me too. I gave all my love for that child because, I had lost one. So the thing is, I loved my children because I didn't have anybody else, and I was separated from the family. And then the husband now, when the children got to be a certain age, I don't know if I'm missing everything, because it's a lot of things to taking this 1 hour, but it was difficult, and I don't know, he kept, I couldn't work, no work. I wanted my license, couldn't get my license, because he used to always tell me, you cannot handle the road. So, and I listened to him, everything. He was God to me, I think. I listened to everything he said. I started to feel, my confidence, low self-esteem and so on. Because at the pen, I really did love that man a lot. And I think he took advantage, and that is what women, and I'm trying my best, if ever I have a next relationship, not to give so much love, because I am passionate about love. I give everything. And he took, and I was just remained like a shell. I remember thinking about all those beautiful shells on the seashore where, you go and you pick it up. But did you ever think that it had a creature inside it that was alive at one time? That is how I felt. Nothing. Like it was just a shell of myself. And my daughter once said, Mommy, when Daddy is home, you're not as happy. But when he's not home, you're happy. And as these things started to dawn on me, I'm not living, I'm dying, basically. But it was never nothing for him to do. He never in all the years he worked, never built a house. Promises, promises, promises. My dad lives in America, and he said, move into the house, because he wasn't coming back. He said, just move in. He would come back when he, retires, but you can move into the house. I moved into the house because it was never not anything forthcoming. Anyway, my husband now, I couldn't understand why he didn't have a relationship with his children. And I would try to get him, to talk. My big son would, one day I locked the porch and locked them out, and I said, something, you all have to talk, because I can't understand why it is they don't have a relationship. If they want something, they'll tell the father. Tell me, tell daddy. So I couldn't understand that. But one thing that we always had was financial problems. I don't know why. Because my children, when they get their allowance, he would borrow their money after they save. And so he wouldn't give them back their money. And all of this, I couldn't understand what was going on. But I supported him. That is the bad thing. We have this blind trust on whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but I supported him totally. Even though I would make excuses, he would make plans, and the children all excited. And then they'll say, Daddy, not doing it again, sure. Then I would always be the one to make the excuses. And we cannot be blind with our love for men. I mean, it took me down a dark road. I don't know. If you had said this, like last year, I would have been here, or 3 years ago, no. I couldn't envision that, because I couldn't stand for myself. And we have to recognize the signs of domestic abuse, or not of domestic abuse, the signs of these men that control. From the time they start to tell you, you can't do here, go there, can't wear pants, you can't do whatever it is, and stifling who you are, you recognize it for what it is. One thing, I couldn't talk to him. I had to wait until it was convenient, when he's in a good mood, to talk. Another thing he used to do, which I never really thought about until 2016, the 12th of December 2016, if we have any argument, he would hold me down. And that, I said, husband, I can't say anything. But he would hold me down when we have an argument. I mean, think about it, women. If your husband quarrel and beat you, you're not going to have to go and lie down with him. I mean, it's just basic. We know that. So, over the years, it has always been a problem with this man, not going anywhere. My relatives on the outside looking in, they had an idea something was wrong. And they didn't know they didn't know, because they wouldn't ask me, because I'm a good pressure cooker. I could keep things. I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't say anything. Everything all is good, and loving this man forever. And what started to make my change, I was fat. I don't know where the slide is. Onika, the thing that because I wanted to show you how I was. And it was always love. He loved me just so, because I was big. I started to get, because remember, I'm not going out anywhere. There was a time, 1 year, I was in the house, never left the gate. He would buy my underwears. He would take me, we didn't have money much to go to the hairdresser, but once these are some of the products, but what I wanted to show you is the size I was before I started this journey. And my daughter, this is how I was. That is the same year I started to go to the gym. Wasn't liking myself at all. But what happened is I started having knee problem, and I had a lot of depression, and for 23 years, anxiety attacks. Couldn't understand why I was having all these anxiety attacks. Sometimes I couldn't even function properly to take care of the children. But I still had to get up and do my duties. And couldn't understand at all. Thought I would never be the same. So when I took that picture and I saw myself, I didn't like myself. So my neck, I got in an accident when I went to America. And I decided, I went to Dr. Trinidad, and I told Dr. Trinidad, fortunately, my husband didn't go in with me, which is what he usually does. He didn't go in that day, so I asked Dr. Trinidad, could I go to the gym? He said, sure. So I know I had to lie, because he would not. And I know he would see this and he'd hear a lie now, but I had to lie. I told him, I said, Dr. Trinidad said to go to the gym. And that is how my journey started with the gym. Now, the thing, as I said, to get into the gym to wear pants was the hardest thing. And I used to go, the gym instructor would notice how uncomfortable I was, and he used to put me in the spin class room when there was nobody there, because I wasn't comfortable. To wear pants after 33 years, that was really, really uncomfortable. And then the girls started to say, you look good in your pants. So one day I came home, I put the phone on the chair, and I walked and recorded, and I broke down. I said, what it is he used to see, because I really thought in my mind I was looking bad. And so I asked him, I said, why did you never make me wear pants? Well, because there are children here, I can't say the word, but he said, you look like a C in the pants. And, well, better he'd kill me one time, because from that day, I cried, I broke down, I cried. And that was the beginning of the radical change. I took a radical step, I said, because he couldn't do that to me. I know I wasn't looking so bad, you know. So, and I started to make drastic changes. My son saw because remember I bought big clothes, big track pants and so on. And my son saw the clothes, and remember I'm losing the weight now, so I'm looking like a stick in the clothes. And he said, Mommy, come and get some clothes. He took me to the place. He paid, all he did was pay. He never said, Mommy, wear this, wear that. To this day, that man doesn't speak to that child. Because he said, he's encouraging me to wear pants. Now, the only son that disrespected me, actually my son hit me. He hit me, he cuffed me in my face, thanks to my husband. 5 years ago, he told, my children is all I have. Because remember, my relatives, I don't have people coming around because of him. So my son used to come in the room, he would come and talk to me. Tell me his plans and things. And my husband come a day and he told me, he said, he wants to F you. I didn't know what to say. Well, I broke down. I called my daughters and I told them, listen, this is what your father said. Because my daughter by that time had left the house. They marry early and get out. And she said, well, tell him. I'm not calling his name. Well, my son, he said, tell him what your father says. I can't tell him that. I can't tell him that because it will hurt him. If I had known that child would have turned around like that, I would have told him what the father said. But the thing is, father kept. To tell you how this man tried to break me, he kept calling all the children. You're not close to them, but you're telling them messaging this one, messaging that one. That is when he wanted to go and do his thing, because remember, the same family that they took him away from to marry me, he went back to her. He went back to her. But he wanted to create his problem, so he started to talk. This one, tell him. So my last son said, he cut him off. He said, no. My daughter two daughters cut him off. This one, my other son, well, he doesn't be, you know, he entertaining him and whatever. But he didn't really take a stand with the father. But the boy who is named after him, he sided with the father and decided to curse me. So it was an everyday verbal abuse. Last year he came, said, your daughter want to tackle you. That now all my children are his, remember. But he finally got the son away from me. So now he came to my daughter. And I said, no, I'm not going to turn because I realize now the game. Everybody he has to keep away from me. When my daughter, when she got married, that's the second girl, we had to get police officers to hold this man so that I can attend the wedding. I couldn't go to the first wedding, which is my first daughter, but I had to get the police to. She got people and had them there ready. So when he came and he wanted to create a scene, took me to a bar, not far, so the police followed us and they held him until the ceremony done. My daughter went to the hospital. I couldn't be there for her. I had to ask him. Well, when she came out of the hospital, my first grandchild came home. I had to go to the grocery to see the baby from the hospital because he doesn't want her to come to the house. So I went to the grocery to see the baby, asked him. Well, I had to wait until he agreed for the baby to come home. So when the baby did come, I said, look, your grandchild is our first grandchild. I don't want to see no mother on so grandchild. I don't want to, and it was so until, and one day in the process of hitting me, hit the baby. Right? So it was a whole series of events that I couldn't deal with anymore. I remember even when my big son was, he was about 17 years. He and the other, the same one who disrespected me, we had a little scuffle and they were fighting. And this man come and stamped my big son's head on the ground, and he get up and he didn't even know where he was. He was disoriented. And now he suffers with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, you mostly find people who went to wars having those problems. Now he has that, he forgets a lot, right? That's my eldest child. So it just goes to show the things that we put up with. And, you know, they say, I never expected to be able to stand up against him. I was always fearful. I never knew I had the strength. So when you think you don't have the strength, woman, we're stronger than you. You will never believe the strength we have. Because everybody who knows me, I was a little bumbling, nervous person. Quick to get anxiety attack, quick to go into depression. And from the time I started to walk away from that man 3 years ago, the panic attack just started lessening. Yes, I still get, maybe if I'm very, very stressed, but other than that, it was regular every day, Nelly. And especially when I'm sick, he would curse and so on. December 12th, 2016, he come back again with the same nonsense. I went to cut my hair. I turned radical, right? I took steps that I know, because he never wanted me in braids. He didn't want me to do, so I cut off all my relaxed hair. And I say I go and turn ras, without his permission, of course. I went and I turned ras. Well, that was a big upset to him. He came and he said, why don't you come back like before? You'll be loved and respected again. I said, that woman is dead. He said, no, don't tell me that. Hold his head and said, don't tell me that. I said, that woman is dead. And, well, but when I went to cut my hair, I asked my cousin, I said, do you know where I can get a hairdresser? Because remember, I don't go to hairdressers, I do my stuff. So she told me where to go. But of course, he has to make the decision. He said, he found a hairdresser. I don't even know the woman. I know my cousin knows some, the hairdressers. He found her and said, he go in there. I said, no, I go in where my cousin tell me. No, so I can't do nothing for you. Okay, thank you. Yes, he's saying, he started to curse in the public and say, I can't do anything for you, mother, this and that and whatever. And, well, I started to cry. I got panic attack, of course, because I wasn't clearly out from him. And when I came home, he continued cursing. He took me to where I wanted to go because I insisted, well, let's go home. I'm not going to go. And he brought me home. He finished curse the night. After 9, he's still cursing. But when he went to bed the night, he did what he usually does. He held me down again. So that was when I started I took a stand and I said, I didn't even speak to him face to face. I messaged him. I still have the message. I said, the way you behaved, I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. Because I never used to speak up. I used to always cry. I said, I will not tolerate it. And I said, what you did last night is rape. Don't you dare touch me again. I said, I'll take your hand off from the shoulders. And he called he called my sons, and he said, me and your mother had sex last night. And she wanted to tell me, she didn't resist, and she wanted to say, she get raped. I said, that was uncalled for. You don't discuss those things with children. Right? So the thing is, I started my journey 3 years ago. And I have to thank David Rattler. He's the PM of the radio station, Melanated Community Radio. I always like knowledge. So I always used to go on those sites that, are building, reading, because I couldn't do anything with my life. My husband never made me work. So I went there and I was on Michael Basin's page. I happened across Mr. Rattler. He started this radio program where he just was a project ready. He said, let me see if I can get somebody or people who don't have knowledge in broadcasting and make them broadcasters. And I jumped at the chance because I love, I always loved doing that. And it was a way to keep me sane too. Well, my husband didn't know I was doing it. Because it was just, you could stay home and just record. And what he did, when he did find out, he went on the radio station page and he gave them some good information. Well, bad. He said I was a fraud, I was a deceitful person, and he would expose me. And he wants a chance for an interview. Now, mind you, you couldn't have the thing, Anika, the slide, put it a slide. So, what the thing is, I was doing a program on literacy. Let it just keep rolling. On literacy, right? It didn't have anything to do with domestic abuse. We never discussed that. I never told my story. Yet he told the man, he said he wants to tell his side of the story. And saying he's been blocked from talking. And he until he make his next move. I don't know what the next move was. But anyway, he started emailing them until he finally decided, this is the program, Light in the Abyss. I came up with this. It's about domestic abuse. This one came after he called the station. And, well, these are some of the products that I use. They created these labels for me. So the thing is, he did interview with the project manager, who is Mr. Rattler, and he said, well, we are concerned with the allegation you made. Why is she a fraud? He said, that's not her title. So he said, isn't that her maiden name? You didn't know that was her maiden name? He said, yes, but we're not divorced yet. Right? So what he was trying to do was get me thrown off for the radio station. Because I cannot do anything. Even when I used to say, this is the global community, is where people go to discuss their issues. This is the program I started with, Building Bridges. And this is, he said, I told my story. I didn't say anything on the radio station. I never did it. But he came and he gave his interview. And then the night he hit me, the night he made my son hit me, next day he told my son, go and bring me up for domestic abuse. Another thing we have to deal with is this legal system. It is messy. And yes, we say that women have, they say women have the rights. Trust me. I did not get justice at my case with this man. He made my son hit me, then sent him to bring me up on domestic abuse charges. And because he had left the room when I told him about raping me, he left the room. So I changed the lock because I never trusted him because he put cutlass to my throat many times. When he beat me with hammer, I called the police. He told the police. She hit herself and saying it's me. So those are the things I went through. So when I changed the lock, he put me in court for domestic abuse. From the time I married to that man, he beat me. He put me in court and I couldn't put that man. You see? So when he went as a witness against me with my son. And the thing is, when you don't have proper legal representation, when you find your lawyer is not acting right, drop them. Because you know something? When I started, I complained to the person at the helm, and I told her, I said, I'm not being represented properly at all. She talked to her, but I thought she would have done right by me. She didn't. And then my husband now, with all the lies, and he went to the court and he's shivering, and he has this jacket, so he gave an impression to the magistrate. And you know what the magistrate told me? The magistrate told me, he's no longer a threat to you. Now the man is in a relationship with a woman. He doesn't want to come back, but he wanted money from me. He thought I was getting all this money from this radio station. This radio station, it doesn't pay. It helps you to build yourself. So by way of the products, they make the labels, they advertise for you, but you have to build yourself. They don't pay you. Right? It is a way of self-empowerment, and also, if they give you a bird, you could eat it up and study it. But when you work for something, you keep it, right? You cherish it and you build on it. So that is what it was. And the man kept asking for money. And the magistrate said he's no longer a threat. Put him back in the house. And the man is living with a woman. And added to which, because he took a lawyer but was just like him, and telling me I'm very assertive, and I look like the magistrate said she knows I was abused physically, emotionally, psychologically, but I got a voice and I was standing up, and I'm abusing him now because he's a chameleon, and no, I'm gonna live with him. And this is what they have to recognize. The man came and he was trembling, put a big jacket on and he was trembling. So she tell him go back. So she gave me a restraining order and he a restraining order and tell him to go back, even though the man is telling the magistrate no. But I can't go into more of what transpired because it's an ongoing investigation. But the same woman he left me for is now dead. Wow. And it's being investigated. So I have nothing more to say on that because I don't want to prejudice anything. But it's now about a month she buried. And, well, you see what the magistrate put me in. Because he could return to my home and do me what he want. But he was supposed to be the one who couldn't do me anything. So the legal system has to change. Understand, we have to have magistrates that are, they have to train them. Like Ms. Ravello, they need to change them and train them in understanding the psychology of people. Watch body language. Understand that men can be like chameleons. And I'm not bashing men, but it's my situation. So I have to talk on my behalf as a woman. But they need to change the way they deal with these domestic abuse cases. 14 women thus far for the year have been murdered by men, by their spouse. How many more? I know there are women who lie and go to the court and lie and so on. I understand that. But you must check first, make sure. Don't put us in the situation where our lives are at risk. And women have to, please, when you see the signs, love can carry you through. Now, I love when relationships work, and if you can get it done, good. But we understand when it's toxic. And sometimes what we do is stay in relationship for children. Do not do that. Because my son could have turned to me and said, Mommy, had you left, we would have been in a better position. My father built that house. He worked 2 jobs to build that house. And this man wants the house, wants me, sell it to give him half. Could you imagine that? All because finally he fixed the roof, because we live in there 23 years. Fixed the roof, and he built a wall because we had pit bulls at the time, and that was the law, because remember, they had changed the law. He wants half of my house. Never built a house for his family, Added to which he has a place where he's staying by his aunt, and still want my home. So it was a battle in the court. He even sent letters to my home telling me I have to put out my grandchildren and my daughter. Because he doesn't speak to our daughter. He doesn't speak to her. Because he said she's influencing me. Now remember, he had controlled me. Everything about me for all the years. So at this point now it had to be somebody doing it. Somebody has to be doing it because he has lost control. So he blamed my daughter, because my daughter has learned from my experience, and she's a strong-willed person. She has learned, and she doesn't tolerate nonsense, and she's the problem. So he can't see that I have come up for myself, and you cannot stifle people. You cannot stifle who you are. Even though he has done so much, but remember, every day you pretend you're saying things will get better, things will get better. It never got better. Financially, it's always a struggle. Always, he even borrowed money from my last son. And it was a substantial amount of money. And only paid him back $6,000 and said, put me in court. So it's a very, very, very difficult situation. You have to be in it to understand. And I don't understand why, like I said, I was very aggressive growing up because I had to protect me. So most of my family was like, how come you allow this man to do this for so long? And added to which, from day one of my aunt came to me, he came on to her. I didn't believe. Both sisters, I didn't believe. My cousin, I still didn't believe. I don't know how I was so much into this man that I couldn't see what he was doing. All right, so when my cousin, I'm apologizing to my cousin, which I know she would watch. I apologized too many times for telling her the hurtful things that I did tell her, because my husband, if you see him and who knows him, will never believe he's capable of anything, because he walks like he wouldn't hardly want to touch the ground. So what you see externally is not always the case. And I love the man, and you could say I was like a tripod. You know, there's something I learned during the course of doing this research for Light in the Abyss. There is something called a counterbalancer. People become counterbalance in a relationship, in a family setting. So some they try to, well, where they're sorely lacking, that person sort of make up. So I could say my husband piggyback on me, because I built that family. You could say, they say, you know, women are the backbone, but sometimes backbones break and we become incapacitated. So women have to just be careful. If you see a situation, now I know one thing I could always say, do not tell a woman who is in an abusive relationship, you're stupid for staying there. Trust me, in time, they will come out for themselves. You cannot, all we have to do is be supportive and be there for them when they need us. You know, they come, they run back and forth, back and forth. Don't, you know, tell them, you know, hurtful things, you know, you stupid, yes, you encouraging that. In time, they would cut up. Nobody who knows me would ever believe I would be here. And I could stand for myself, because my husband did everything for me. Said, I tell you, he said, well, buy my underwears, until I said, I'm going to buy my underwears for myself. And then he started to, even when we go to buy the underwears, he's right there waiting, right there, always there, always there. So it's a stifling situation on my journey to taking back my life. Yes. I'm doing my products. I'm still doing the radio program. I am going for my license. That is one thing I have to get my license. Yes. And do not let a man, don't settle for less, and let a man tell you who you are, because that is one of the things he said. He said, I was trying to make you somebody. Actually, he was making me nobody, because I was very unhappy. And now I feel liberated. I'm not going to say emancipated. I'm going to say liberated. Liberated is when you take back. Emancipated is when, you know, somebody give you something. So I took it back, so I'm liberated. And that word emancipation, I don't really use it again, because I understand the difference in meaning. So these programs have helped me. Self-medicated, but you know, as Ms. Ravello said, we also need the professional help, which I'm going to seek. Ms. Ravello, thanks for your advice. And we women are stronger than we think. Don't take abuse. If you cannot stay in a relationship, do not stay in a toxic environment, because it breaks you down mentally in every way. I mean, I was sick. I was always sick and couldn't function efficiently. But I've taken back my life. In the interim, I've met Onika because of MCR, Melanated Community Radio. I've met her because had I not met, be part of that radio program, I would never have reached out to a women's organization. And I reached out. I think she was the first one I reached out to, Onika, and she has been there with me all the time. You know, when we go through, when the incident happened with the woman, she was always there for me. And of course, the crew at MCR, Tammy, Nazreen Mohammed, Ursula Turi, William Malisette, all of them are part of MCR. David Rattler, mostly, because he's the PA project manager. He's the one who had the vision to do something. Shania Limited is like, if anybody has music, local music at radio stations don't want to play, or you want your music exposed, you can go to the site, Melanated Community Radio. You just stroll down, and you can fill out the form. As a matter of fact, I have a guy from Pfizer. His music is being played all the time on the radio program. So it's a great way. I am happy that I took this step. And if you all knew me, any one of all, you could do it. Because I was a real chicken. Real chicken. Every one of you all. Any one of you all can do it. Don't ever say never, and don't ever say you're not able to do it. You could do it. It just takes determination and fortitude. And if you're going towards a goal, continue. You know, on the journey to redemption or liberation, there will always be obstacles. And anytime you take a stand, watch you, people are going to bash you. Always have to tell you something. But you know something? Like I said, and I brought this it's something that I always loved seeing, you know, hold up a piece of paper. And the first thing you ask, what do you see on this paper? You see, the thing is, all that nobody saw, but it that. So it just goes to show sometimes you do one little thing, and it's a whole big issue. But you know, all the other things, the good things that you did, people don't recognize it. So anytime you stand up, and anytime you start this journey, always remember that you're going to have haters. You're going to have people who will be upset with you that you didn't stay in the confines. And people always feel, you know, we have family members. Stay, girl, try to make it work. I'm not saying don't work on your relationship, but if it's toxic and if it's hurting you and it's hurting your family, get out of it. And you know, sometimes even religious leaders will tell you, try and make it work. But you are in the home and you know what is going on. You have to get away from it because sometimes you could be better apart than together. And don't be like that counterbalancer to carry the weight of the family and the tripod to hold the camera because it could be like a tripod. It can get heavy. It can get really heavy because that's what happened to me and I felt like I was going to go off. Truth be told, I just felt life wasn't worth living anymore. So, that being said, I want to thank Onika for the privilege of coming and the opportunity. Miss Ravello, thank you so much for all the encouragement you spoke to me the other day. Miss Brewster, that was a wonderful discourse. I actually felt every word what you said. And I understood because this is where most women could end up if we don't take cognizance of what is happening around us. I have never, I mean, I'm now trying to build my life. So this is my initial speech. I have never spoken. I have never spoken before. Thank you. And like I said, don't settle for less. So this is my glasses, $20, because I never got the glasses when I asked my husband years ago. And, but I'm going to buy my own glasses eventually, though. So I'm starting on the journey. So, Onika, it was a pleasure. The people of the library, the staff, the security, thank you so much for hosting us today.